Costco generated more than $269 billion in merchandise sales in its 2025 fiscal year. But here's the strange part. Costco's merchandise gross margin was only about 11%. That means the company is moving an enormous amount of merchandise while keeping a surprisingly small percentage before operating expenses. So why would one of the world's largest retailers deliberately operate this way? Because the products are only one part of the model. There's another revenue stream that customers pay for simply to access the business. Membership fees. And once you understand how those fees interact with Costco's low price strategy, the entire business starts to look different. From the outside, Costco looks like a straightforward retailer. You walk into a massive warehouse. You see pallets of products, groceries, electronics, household goods, fuel, and other merchandise. You put products into your cart. You pay at the checkout, and Costco records the sale as revenue. Simple, but there's an important distinction in finance. Revenue is not profit. Revenue is the money generated from selling something. Profit is what remains after the costs required to operate the business. And Costco's financial statements make this distinction particularly interesting. In fiscal 2025, Costco reported approximately $269.9 billion in net sales. Membership fees were approximately $5.3 billion. At first glance, the comparison seems obvious. Merchandise sales are dramatically larger. So you might conclude that merchandise is where Costco makes its money. But that conclusion misses the economics of the merchandise itself. Costco reported merchandise costs of approximately $239.9 billion in 2025. That left about $30 billion of gross margin, or roughly 11.1% of net sales. And that is before the company pays its operating expenses. So the important question isn't, how much does Costco sell? The better question is, why is Costco willing to sell so much at such a low merchandise margin? That's where the membership model becomes important. Costco's customers don't simply walk into the business like customers at an ordinary retailer. They pay for membership. That creates a fundamentally different relationship. The customer isn't just making a transaction. They're paying for access to the entire shopping system. Costco's annual membership fees are recognized over the membership period rather than all at once. That creates a recurring revenue stream. And recurring revenue has a useful characteristic. It can be more predictable than relying entirely on individual transactions. But the membership fee does something else that is even more important. It changes the customer's incentive. Once someone has paid for membership, they have a reason to keep using it. The more value they believe they receive from Costco, the more attractive renewal becomes. And that creates a powerful feedback loop. Low prices can attract customers. Customers create purchasing volume. Purchasing volume gives Costco greater scale. Greater scale can strengthen its ability to negotiate with suppliers. And competitive prices can make the membership more valuable. The membership and the merchandise, therefore, aren't two completely separate businesses. They reinforce each other. This is the key to understanding Costco. Here's where the model becomes even more interesting. A traditional retailer can try to increase its profit by putting a larger markup on every product. If a product costs $80, for example, the retailer might try to sell it for $100 instead of $90. Higher markup can mean more gross profit per item. But Costco has built its reputation around something different. Value. The company has historically emphasized limited product selection, high sales volume, efficient operations, and low prices. That changes the role of margin. Instead of asking, how much profit can we make from this individual product? The model is closer to asking, how much value can we create for the member, while keeping the entire system profitable? That distinction matters. Because if Costco can convince customers that its prices are consistently attractive, the membership becomes easier to justify. And when customers continue renewing, the company gets another year of access to that customer relationship. Costco reported worldwide renewal rates of approximately 89.8% at the end of fiscal 2025, with the US and Canada at approximately 92.3%. Those numbers don't prove that membership fees alone are the profit. They prove something more useful. The membership relationship is extremely important to the model. Now we can see the contradiction. The warehouse is designed to generate enormous merchandise sales. But Costco doesn't need to maximize the markup on every item to make the model work. Instead, it uses low prices to make membership valuable. Membership encourages repeat shopping. Repeat shopping produces more sales. More sales increase purchasing scale. And purchasing scale helps support the low price proposition. So the business isn't simply buy cheap, sell expensive, keep the difference. It's closer to create value, attract members, generate volume, use scale, maintain value, retain members. And that is a very different way of thinking about retail. But there's still one major question. If membership fees were so important, why are they such a small percentage of Costco's total revenue? The answer reveals one of the most important lessons in business analysis. The biggest revenue source doesn't automatically tell you what makes the business model powerful. And that's where we need to look at the relationship between Costco's membership economics, merchandise margins, operating costs, and customer behavior. Because the real story isn't about one revenue line. It's about how all of them work together. Here's where we need to be precise. It would be wrong to say that Costco's membership fees are its entire profit engine. They are not. Costco still makes money from selling merchandise. In fiscal 2025, the company generated about $269.9 billion in net sales and $5.3 billion in membership fee revenue. But there's an important difference between the size of a revenue stream and its economics. Membership fees don't require Costco to purchase the merchandise being sold. The company can collect a membership fee without having to buy another television, another bag of rice, or another box of cereal from a supplier. That means membership revenue can contribute disproportionately to the economics of the business. But there is another reason the membership matters. It helps Costco keep its merchandise prices low. And low prices are not simply a discount. They are part of the customer acquisition and retention strategy. Think about the relationship. If Costco raises merchandise margins substantially, it could potentially generate more gross profit from individual products. But if those higher prices make the membership less valuable, customers could become less willing to renew. So Costco has an unusual incentive. Keep the products attractive enough that customers continue believing the membership is worth paying for. That creates a different definition of success. The goal isn't necessarily to maximize profit on every transaction. The goal is to maximize the value of the entire customer relationship. Now add scale to the equation. Costco reported more than 81 million paid members and approximately 145 million total cardholders at the end of fiscal 2025. That's an enormous customer base. And scale matters because large purchasing volumes can create bargaining power. If a retailer can consistently place very large orders, suppliers have an incentive to compete for that business. Costco also emphasizes a limited SKU model. In simple terms, that means it carries a relatively focused selection rather than trying to stock every possible version of every product. That can simplify purchasing and inventory management. The company says its limited SKU model allows it to focus on productive items and optimize its supply chain for efficiency. This is where Costco's business model starts to resemble a flywheel. Membership creates customers. Customers create demand. Demand creates purchasing volume. Purchasing volume supports scale. Scale helps the company pursue competitive pricing. Competitive pricing makes the membership more valuable. And valuable memberships encourage customers to stay. Then the cycle starts again. Now comes the important strategic question. If this model is so effective, why doesn't every retailer simply copy it? Because the membership is only one piece. A competitor could charge an annual fee tomorrow, but that doesn't automatically create customer loyalty. The real advantage comes from combining several systems. Membership, scale, supplier relationships, warehouse operations, limited product selection, low pricing, customer trust, and high shopping frequency. Costco reported that comparable sales increased in fiscal 2025, with shopping frequency rising approximately 5%. That matters because a membership becomes more valuable when customers actually use it. A membership that sits unused is a cost. A membership attached to frequent shopping becomes part of a much larger economic relationship. This is the difference between a fee and a business model. The fee itself is simple. The system surrounding it is what makes it powerful. But every business model has a weak point. For Costco, one important dependency is the perceived value of membership. If customers stop believing that the savings and shopping experience justify the annual fee, the model becomes weaker. And Costco itself acknowledges that renewal rates can change based on factors including membership mix and online promotions. There is also competition. Other retailers can compete on price. E-commerce platforms can compete on convenience. Specialty stores can compete on selection. And economic conditions can change. How consumers spend. So Costco's advantage is not that it is immune to competition. Its advantage is that it has built a system where several parts reinforce each other. And now we can answer the original question. How does Costco really make its money? The simplest answer is, it sells an enormous amount of merchandise, but it deliberately operates that merchandise business at relatively low margins while using membership fees, customer loyalty, purchasing scale, and operational efficiency to support the overall model. The membership isn't a magical separate profit segment. It's more important than that. It is one of the mechanisms connecting the entire business together. The products create shopping activity. The membership creates recurring customer relationships. The low prices create perceived value. And the scale helps make the system economically viable. That is the real lesson. When you analyze a company, don't stop at its biggest revenue number. Ask, what does the company sell? Then ask, why does the customer keep coming back? Because sometimes the most important part of a business isn't the product. It's the system that makes the customer relationship repeat. If you want more practical breakdowns of how major companies actually make money, subscribe for the next business model analysis. Because the more you understand how companies make money, the easier it becomes to understand how businesses really work.